So I realized that I've never really talked that much about my journey, I guess, as a creator or a creative um, in my life. It's easy, I think, to see people's success online as a content creator and assume that they've always been, not always been successful, but like always had the track record that you see online. And that's not trying to make it sound like I've had a harder journey than other people, but more so saying that you don't see the full journey when you see someone online already have success or already have an audience or whatever. And so I figured I would put this out there and kind of share my story as a creative and as a creator. More so, not just to like share my story because it's not that crazy, but to make myself more relatable and kind of give people more insight into myself, so then that way you all can relate to me more in the sense of hope, I guess. I know what it's like to be the like super confused, lost creative, like trying to be a freelancer, failing, not knowing how to get clients, never making enough money to fully get by with it, always having to have a part-time job, and just feeling like you don't even know how to predict your future. Like that feeling of being creative, I resonate with very much so because I was that person. And so my hope with sharing more of this uncut, raw story of me is that more people can relate to me and get more value from what I talk about and whatnot. So I guess from the start, I first got into the creative space my sophomore year of high school, I think, or maybe junior year. I signed up for this graphic design and illustration course. I was always like a creative kid. Like I loved drawing. I used to write like short stories and stuff as a kid growing up. So I was always a really creative kid. But this was my first time where I was actually given and taught a medium to express that. And I kind of just became obsessed with graphic design and just learned everything I could about it. My teacher was a great mentor for me and really inspired me to take it a step further. So in high school, I wouldn't say I started my first business by any means, but I got my first like freelance clients and did some random one-off graphic design jobs, and I really enjoyed that. From that, I signed up for a yearbook course, and that is when I got into photography and immediately became obsessed with it. Throughout high school, I watched people like Casey Neistat, Peter McKinnon, Justin Escalona, and just became obsessed with the idea of like being a creative and like being a YouTuber and a vlogger. And so I got my first camera and was just completely addicted to that. I, would make stupid little YouTube videos and take photos with my friends and just spend as much time as I possibly could in the photography, videography world. More so video or photo, which then turned into videography. And I did that for a while, never really took it seriously. After I graduated high school, I knew I didn't want to work a 9 to 5, which sounds so cliche, but like there's genuinely nothing that was interesting to me enough to go to school for. I knew I wasn't going to go to school for photography. Like I wasn't going to pay to get a degree in photography because to me that was just the biggest fucking waste of money. I'm sorry if you have a photography degree, but I knew it was probably the biggest waste of money because everything that I had learned up until that point I had done so simply from YouTube. Everything I'd learned up until that point I'd learned from YouTube, and it had gotten me further than basically what I knew was there wasn't anything I could learn in college from video or photo that I couldn't just figure out online on my own. And so because of that, I refused to go to school for something like photography or video. But I still wasn't fully confident in myself and had really any idea what I wanted to do with my skills or what would, become my skills. And so I went to school for software engineering as a backup plan. I told myself it was always a backup plan. And I did not last long as a software engineer. I'm not dumb. I fucking hated high school, but I performed well on my ACT, SATs, whatever. And so it wasn't like I was doing bad. I just hated college. I hated software engineering. And I lasted about a year doing that. And then after that, while I was still learning photo and video and all that stuff on the back end, I tried switching my majors to like digital media. And I'll never forget, I had a college, this is a fucking college course. And I went in the first day or the first couple weeks of class and did all the homework assignments, and like they were easy, obviously, because like I'd been doing photo and video for like 4 years at this point. And the professor held me back after class one time and asked me if I wanted harder assignments for the class than everybody else was getting. And at that moment, I kind of knew I was wasting my time and money staying in school. And that's not me flexing or anything, because trust me, that's not a flex. But it's more so me realizing that spending money on college, learning something that I could learn for free in a couple weeks online was not worth it. And I was just going to end up burning a hole in my wallet and wasting 4 years of my life. So at that, I dropped out of college at 19. I didn't have some hero story where I was making a bunch of money in college behind the scenes and then suddenly, was making $20K a month and dropped out of college and was just like this 20-year-old millionaire. I was fucking broke. I had no job, and I had no education beyond high school. But I just knew that there was like more. Like I knew I could do something else. Like there was more that I could do. And so that being said, I got like an internship in the city I am now, which is Grand Rapids, Michigan. Moved here, and the internship was for a social media role where I was helping a film company run their social media. And that was kind of my first taste with like really getting into social media, because at that same time Instagram was really big in the sense of like not feature pages, but the explore page, and like you could go viral still with like photos, because it was before reels and stuff. And so I was getting into that, and I was finding some success with that and growing an account. And so it was kind of my first dive into social media, and I really got hooked to it. Maybe for the wrong reasons. Like I think I was still kind of seeking external praise for what I was doing, but I got really hooked on that. And I did that for an entire summer, and then into the fall, I ended up getting hired there like part-time. But the whole time I was there, because I knew the owner of the company, I just knew I wanted more. Like, not in the sense of like I needed more money, more accolades, but like I wanted to design and build like my life for me and not for other people. And so as much as I enjoyed like that internship and that job, and I appreciate that I got to do what I got to do at such a young age with no degree. I always had this sense like I wanted it to be my thing. So I stopped working there. I got like let go because I was working directly with the client, and they lost the client is what it basically happened. And then moved on to another job. It was 9 to 5, worked there for like 3 months, fucking hated it again, and quit. And that 9 to 5 that was worked for like 3 months, I was actually making like, I think $60,000 a year, which doesn't sound that crazy, but for a still 19-year-old, I think at the time, 19-year-old, making $60K a year with no degree is pretty fucking cool. But I quit. And the money, I didn't even like think about, like, there was not a single part of me that was like, oh, but you're missing out on like this money. Like you could be making like I didn't even fucking care that I was leaving $60K a year. Like I didn't even think about that. And some people might think it's irresponsible, but I fucking hated it. Like working that 9 to 5, I hated it so much. Like I just couldn't stand it. Like, and I don't know, maybe that sounds like so privileged or something, and maybe it is, but I could not stand it. I had already decided that like I would rather be making a fraction of that doing something I loved than do that for another minute. So I quit, and went from making, full-time marketing director job, 65K, whatever, a year at 19 to just working takeout at a restaurant. So at 21 or whatever, close to 21, I don't remember the exact date, but went from that to literally working a part-time takeout job. And that period I was really confused because during all of these things, I was always constantly trying to do my own thing. I was constantly trying to build my own business, my own media company, my own freelance. I was trying over and over and over again. I tried every single side hustle during this time. I tried drop shipping, fucking NFTs, affiliate marketing, and freelancing throughout the entire time. And I just never found any fucking success. I never found any sort of growth or progress. It was the feast or famine cycle. I was relying 100%, I was relying entirely on referrals. And it was mostly because of my ego. At that point, I knew I was decent with a camera. And so I just assumed people would come to Will people would just come to me for videos because why would they not? Because I'm great at making videos. I'm great at photography. And because of this, I just literally never grew. And so I had this belief that I just could not make it work. And not that I fell into a really dark place at this point, but just complete frustration and confusion as to why nothing was working for me. And fast forward, I stayed doing the takeout thing and server and bartender and started doing freelance things, still occasionally supplement my income. And then I hit a point where I was very money focused. I got into this point in my life where I was very focused on just making as much money as possible. Because my idea was I would make a bunch of money and then I would not have to worry about money and then I could do what I loved, which is fucking horrible mindset, but whatever, means to an end. And I got my real estate license. And to summarize that, because I've talked about it before, I tried that for a year, found no fucking success, went a lot of money in debt, over $10,000 in debt, consumer debt, keep in mind, trying to support this career because I thought eventually it would pay off. It didn't. And at the end of it, I just had a moment, and my girlfriend asked me, because I was just fucking a ball of stress. I was broke. I was just felt completely hopeless. And she was like, what do you want to do? What is your dream to do? And I was like, I just want to fucking be creative. I want to just make shit for a living. And she was like, then why are you doing this? Why are you trying to be a real estate agent? And I was like, damn, yeah, no shit. And so I quit. I just stopped, literally that week. I told my boss that I was done, and I ended up back as a bartender, server, whatever, at the place I was at before. But this time it was different. This time it wasn't I had no idea what I was doing. This time I was I need this to support me and pay my bills, but I'm going to focus on making, being a creative, my full-time thing somehow. And right around that time is when Instagram Reels came out, and I came across creators making videos that were doing crazy fucking numbers. And I was like, I know I can do that. They weren't anything groundbreaking. I saw them and I knew that I could make that video. And so one day I literally just grabbed my fucking camera, knowing I needed something to focus on, and made a video. And it performed really well on my personal account. I think it got 17,000 views, which is, at the time, was dope. And then I really just got hooked on that. And it wasn't because, I think at first it was seeing numbers is great, but it was more so it was something that I could control. I could wake up that day and I could choose to make a video, and I could choose to be a creative, and I could choose to edit it to my liking and post it every single day. And that was 100% in my control, and I could see the growth, even if it was small. And that was enough to keep me going. And talking too long, the camera died. I started seeing success from it. Not monetary, really, until more recently, but just from making something every day, honestly, is what the success was for me. Because throughout all of this time, especially after I quit the $60,000 a year marketing director role, whatever, I got really big into stoicism because I was feeling like super lost, and I felt like my life was completely out of control. And basically what I learned from, and like the biggest lesson, and I've learned a million things from stoicism, it's like shaped me more than anything else, but the biggest lesson that I took away from it was the dichotomy of control, and essentially controlling what you can control and not allowing things outside of your control to affect you and your behavior and your moods. And so, as silly as it sounds, posting Instagram Reels gave me something that I felt like I had complete control over. Like, creating something every single day gave me a sense of like purpose, gave me a sense of control. Like, I had something going on. So even though the first fucking like 10 months of me making content every single day on Instagram, even though there was no like monetary growth, like I didn't make any more money really than when I started, my life just drastically improved because I had this sense of control again. Like, I had something to focus on. I had something to work at every single day, even if I didn't know the exact direction that I was going. I had something that I could focus on every day. And I think that's like one of the biggest lessons that I could tell someone or give anyone sort of advice is like, you're not going to know what the fuck you're going to end up doing. You're not going to know where you're going or what you need to do every single day. The important thing is that you just do something every day. If you would have told me when I post my first, video online, that I would be hosting cohorts where I get to teach people how to become like a bulletproof creator and not burn out and find something to focus on and like create a clear plan and achieve your fucking goals, like that would just, I would not believe that, because at the time that wasn't me. Like, that's not something I would feel confident in teaching other people, but now it's something I'm obsessed with and like I believe in it so much. But I didn't fucking know that when I started. I had to discover that by just doing it and just focusing on one thing for more than a fucking month and not just bouncing between new ideas every single week when something didn't work. Like, just having the resilience to just do it long term. This is becoming I'm going off on so many tangents here, but the point of this more so is just to give the people who care insight into what it means to have no fucking clue what you are doing, to getting to extreme clarity as to what you want to do and where you're going and what it takes. And it takes far less than what people think. Like, God, dude, like, achieving your fucking goals, as corny as it sounds, achieving your goals is simply being relentless on one thing and just focusing on that one thing. There is no way you will do the same thing every day for 6 months and not find exponential growth in it. Like, that's literally fucking impossible. Like, do you really think that if you did the same thing every single day for the next 5 years, you wouldn't get any better? So like that was what the lesson was in my life so far. And like, from everything I've just said from the last 8 years of my life, is like, the only reason I didn't find success in anything that I did, and the reason why I felt so unclear about what I wanted to do and so fucking frustrated all the time with everything that I did, was because I just didn't focus on it for long enough. And I can guarantee, looking back now, like, if I were to go and get my real estate license again or something, or start a different business, or go be a software engineer, and like I enjoy doing that, there's not a doubt in my mind with the skills that I have now that I could be successful at anything I wanted, because I know that all it would take is just focusing on it for just for more than 6 months. I know this kind of just turned into me like giving a pep talk, but I think that's kind of the point of like sharing our experiences and sharing our stories and our lessons. It's not something to satisfy my need for sharing my life. It's satisfying the want, I guess, to inspire other people. Because like for me, that's why I do this. It's because like I know exactly what it's like to be that person that just has no idea what they want or how to get what they want once they know what they want. And so if I can help just one person figure that out, it makes all of this worth it.